I've been there. We all have. You have obsessed over your writing for ages, always finding something that needs to be tweaked or worked on. But then comes the moment when there doesn't seem to be anything else to fix. Well, that can't be right. There has to be something else to work on, right? What if this part goes too fast? What if I didn't give enough explanation here? It can't actually really be ready to post, can it? Yes. The day has finally come. But you are still reluctant to set that little bit of story free. You know it's probably just overthinking or paranoia or stage fright. But that doesn't make it any easier to just put it up. At the same time, though, you shouldn't keep your story from seeing the light of day, especially if you update by chapters. You gotta let it join its little written brothers and sisters. Here are some good little guidelines to follow when it's time to just, well, let it go. Number 1, when you have enough to post. It always helps when you have most of the chapters done or mostly done already. I'm sure that some of the absolute best writers of systematically posted fiction here on the internet have most, if not all, of their story completed, or at least written before they start posting chapters. That must be such a good feeling, I'll bet. Because I always say I'm going to do that every time I start to write another story. Seriously, for real this time, guys, I am going to write the whole thing out and have the chapters proofread and edited and looked over, and then I will start posting. Yeah, that didn't end up happening. The closest I've ever gotten has been when I had a story mostly done and already posted on another site. And then when I brought it to the new story site, I already had like 4 chapters all ready to go. So I released them weekly and I felt like such a pro. It was great for my readers too because they didn't have to wait around for the next chapter. I had it all ready to go for them with some consistency. I still try to keep at least 2 chapters ahead of where my readers are. But that doesn't always work out. I mean, real life does tend to get in the way, and that's fine. Your readers understand, or at least the reasonable ones. And as long as you try to keep it mostly consistent in a realistic way for your schedule, it should be good. Maybe not weekly, but perhaps monthly or bi-monthly. It also helps if you don't always write in chronological order. I've done NaNoWriMo 3 times, and those November writing frenzies have blessed me with a very sizable chunk of story to work with. And it wasn't all just one part of the stories. Some was from the beginning where I could start working on and editing it immediately, but some of it was from near the end and I had to wait on it to be released. The story that I'm updating now and currently finishing, a good amount of those last chapters were written during Nano of 2012. Having a good amount written already, however you want to space it out, is something that requires the existence of something called patience. I don't know, but the rewards can be pretty worth it. Number 2. When your proofreaders are done with it. I have been over the importance of a pre-reader or beta before in other videos. Mostly I've mentioned how great they are as second or third pairs of eyes to help you catch mistakes in grammar as well as story and pacing and character continuity. But another handy role that they can perform for you is telling you when it's time to post. It's not exactly fair to put the pressure of when can I put this up completely on them, but they can act as a good crossing guard, telling you when it's safe to just go on ahead. I probably have put too much stress on my poor PRs due to my anxiousness to get stories and chapters up by certain times, and or fretting about this thing or that thing more than I probably should, because whatever it is probably won't be noticed or even become important until later. I'd like to take this time to apologize to my present and past pre-readers for any undue stress I've put them under. You guys are and/were awesome, because I am lucky and blessed to know you and have you help me. Your relationship with your PR is important, guys. They're helping you out probably for free, so don't be their demanding boss. Be their buddy, too. Trust their judgment of your work to be fair and unbiased. Because even if you're friends, a good pre-reader will be critical as well as complimentary. Number 3. When you've gone over it at least 3 times yourself. Maybe once for grammar and structure, once for story and or character, and once trying to look at it from the perspective of the reader. Most likely your reader will either have been waiting for weeks and/or months for this chapter and might not remember everything that happened in the last one, or they might have come late to the party and are reading everything at once. Neither one is a problem, but it might do well to focus more on the former type of reader. He is the type of person that explains why we need episode recaps on TV shows. There's absolutely nothing wrong with giving a little bit of a recap at the beginning of a chapter, but not in the exact form of a previously on blank. Making it a bit more organic than that would be better. Try not to info dump the recaps, but maybe if there was a spectacular battle in the last chapter, we've got the aftermath being looked over by a character who was there at the start of the next one and remembering the horror watching a friend fall or something. Something like that. The important stuff just as a gentle reminder for the reader to go, oh, yeah, okay, I'm with you. On the grammar and structure side of it, while your PR is doing their thing, you still need to look it over and make sure you have all your yours and yours right and such. I actually really like this text-to-speech program that I found online called Free Natural Reader. The free version has 3 pretty human-sounding voices and is quite helpful with picking out the little typos I or my proofies might have missed. Number 4. When you are so used to a story that you're worried it isn't as good as you think. The writers of The Simpsons and Futurama have mentioned on one of the hundreds of episode commentaries that they do, that they always seem to keep making up new jokes during the process of making the shows. They'll pitch one joke, and then afterwards, during all the subsequent stages of creating an episode, they get so used to that joke that they no longer can tell if it's funny to anyone but themselves. That's why they have to bring in new people to see or hear the joke for them to know that it's still totally fine. When you feel it's ready, though sometimes even when you don't, you're probably good to go. And overthinking it won't help your sanity. It will never, ever, ever be perfect. Even if you've spent years carefully crafting and cultivating your beloved chapter babies, they will still never be ready unless you say they are. Much like the mama bird who has to push her babies out of the nest to teach them to fly, you just have to set them free into the world and trust that they can make it on their own. And number 5, when it's the ending, cut yourself some slack. Endings are hard. Any monkey with a keyboard can poop out a beginning, but endings are impossible. You try to tie up every loose end, but you never can. The fans are always going to complain, there's always going to be holes. And since it's the ending, it's all supposed to add up to something. I'm telling you, they're a raging pain in the patootie. Yes, that's a paraphrase line from Supernatural, but that doesn't mean it's not true. Even if you've never really had a problem with posting your story before, when it comes down to that last chapter, you will most likely start to feel that anxiety. That's even if you're satisfied with your ending. Well, about as satisfied as you're going to be because, let's face it, by restating it, ain't no way you're going to be completely 100% happy with it because complete and total perfection is a myth. More elusive than Bigfoot on a princess cruise to Narnia with the Tooth Fairy. It's very important, yes. But that doesn't mean you should tear out your hair over it or literally be scared of it due to a perceived lack of culmination or payoff. You never know. Most of your readers probably will be satisfied. And remember, the number 1 rule is to be satisfied yourself. I think this video article has proven that sometimes you can be your own worst enemy. I'm kind of living proof of that. But just maybe after that second guessing should not come more guessing. No third or fourth or 400th guessing. You know, I'm not entirely sure how to finish this one because, endings are hard. So, yeah, I do hope I've helped you out at least a little bit though. AOLFC. Let it go, let it go. Post it up, let it be heard. Let it go, let it go. Stop overthinking it, you nerd. It's okay, perfection is a myth. Set your chapters free. Come on, just get it over with.